Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Crimes, Killers, Cults,
and beer.
And beer.
Weed.
And apparently weed. That's two crazy...
Weed.
And weed. Apparently. Because it's two crazy Florida men and one crazy Canadian talking about true crime.
Yes, it is.
Anyway, that is Mark from Mental Illness Theater.
Hello.
Hey, welcome, Mark.
How's it going, guys?
And that's Todd from
I'm
Crimes,
doing
Killers, Cults,
good.
and Beer.
Yay. And that's Bill from Crimes, Killers, Cults, and Beer.
Yeah. Hell yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, Mental Illness Theater. We're doing a collaboration with Mark tonight. I mean, we love that podcast, and I would say that Mark is probably our best buddy and that we've made in the podcast, since we've been podcasting and everything. And so tell me, what are you smoking tonight, Mark?
Tonight, that's a good question. I don't even know. We have like 5 different types of weed right now, and I'm on a shit ton of edibles. So I know more of the edibles. The edibles are Rick Simpson oil, which is some of the strongest shit you can get, and I can't even remember how much I've taken at this point. So yeah, it's going to be fun. It's it's going to be really fun. The giggles are already starting to hit. So.
Right on.
So what are you drinking tonight, Todd?
I know. Rum and Coke.
I know you're smoking nicotine, and so am I. But But it's not Crimes, Killers, Cults, and Nicotine. But
No, that would be dumb.
Yeah, that would be. But I'm drinking Bud Light.
I know I'm supposed to be drinking beer, but I don't know. It's a rum and Coke kind of night.
Yeah. Oh, and just, today started off so great for me. It started off so fucking great until about 6:45 when somebody in the universe just dropped a fuck you bomb on me. So it's just, but you know what? When that happens, and especially when it delays the start of a podcast episode, it just makes me that much more determined to do it. I mean, you know this. We've been through this before, Todd.
Oh yeah.
And it usually turns out for a great episode because I'm in a shitty mood when we start doing it.
Hey, you mentioned too,
Yeah,
you
right?
wanted to come into this one hot, so,
Oh, hell yeah.
Here you go.
Yeah. So before we get started, Mark, tell our listeners a little bit about your podcast.
Basically, Mental Illness Theater. It's a podcast I do with my wife, Gina, and we basically deep dive really terrible things we can find, mostly serial killers, though we'll branch out into like some unsolved and some a couple disasters and whatnot. And I basically tell the story and try to horrify my wife, and she hits back with a lot of dick jokes. So that's basically the entire podcast. It's not really for everyone. Like, if you find that offensive, and you'll know, because within the first couple, like we have an advisory at the start where I call everyone who makes it through the first minute a sick fuck. So, it's that kind of podcast. So I think we'll do really well together. Like, this is going to work.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. You guys get it.
Totally gonna work.
Exactly.
So hopefully the first of many future collaborations, and hopefully at some point we'll be able to include include Gina as well.
Yeah, because we've talked about, we record on one mic just to get a more natural sound, but that would make it absolute hell for whoever had to edit this, because it's absolute hell to edit. But yeah, we have talked about getting a second one to be able to do something like that, which would be awesome, because, more dick jokes.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it's a great podcast, guys. Check it out, Mental Illness Theater, and this podcast obviously is going to be put on our feed and on Mental Illness Theater's feed. So from Todd and I at Crimes, Killers, Cults, and Beer, hey, Mental Illness Theater fans, how's it going?
What up?
So We got a long one, so we're gonna do away with our usual opening festivities and just dive right into this. And it's gonna get crazy, especially considering exactly who this is. And we'll elaborate on that more as we go along. We're gonna string you along. There's a surprise coming if you're new to this, and we're gonna make you wait for it.
It's the slow reveal.
Because I'm in a bad mood. No, I'm not really, but still. But I've had a rough past 3.5 hours. So,
Right.
but tonight we're covering on Christmas Eve. By the way, is when we're recording this. So Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yes, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry scary Christmas. Scary. Hey.
Yes.
Todd, there's a T-shirt. Scary Christmas.
Scary Christmas. All right. I'll work on it.
Oh, shit. Anyway, tonight we're covering Ronald Joseph Dominique, serial killer from New Orleans, Louisiana. And Nolans. So he was born on January 9th of 1964 in Thibodaux, Louisiana. And after he was arrested, he confessed to raping and murdering 23 boys and men ages from 16 to 46 between 1997 and 2006.
Damn.
Boys to Men. I don't like that.
Oh God!
It's not the
dude,
band.
I didn't even get that.
Yeah, it's a whole different thing. This is not the R&B band. This is horrific rape of other men.
Yes. Holy shit, dude.
He didn't kill very many underage kids. He did even one is too many, but he didn't kill very many. And in fact, there was one kill that you can kind of give him a pass on, and we'll get to that. But
weird.
All right.
But he was arrested on December 1st, 2006, and he was a dumbass, and he was sloppy, and law enforcement was puzzled about how this guy was able to pull all of these murders off and get away with it for almost a decade. So, despite the number of victims, the Ron Dominique case did not become like a media circus anywhere other than Louisiana. It wasn't like when Ted Bundy was captured or anything like that. It wasn't when BTK finally came in. Got brought in. It wasn't like anything like that. It was just kind of a local thing, which is crazy because 23 people. That's a lot. That's a hell of a lot.
It's weird that way, though, that some of the cases that do get a lot of play, like I've mentioned before that BTK, like I've never understood why he got so much play compared to, like you're saying, Ron Dominique, who killed, 23 compared to 10. And it's always struck me as strange, the ones that get a lot of play compared to the ones that don't. But I think it might have a little bit to do with victimology, too.
Well, yeah, and we're going to get to that. Well, we'll get to it right now. The overwhelming majority of his victims were black. I think there were a couple Hispanics and a couple white people. But the overwhelming majority, it was black people, and every single one of his victims, they were all poor. They all had like shady past, brushes with the law and all that stuff and everything. And that's typical in serial killers and everything, especially ones that pick a certain profile. They want to go for the forgotten people that nobody's going to notice.
I mean, absolutely. Great examples, Gary Ridgway, right? Like he wasn't even that savvy, but he knew exactly, black prostitutes. If I focus specifically on black prostitutes, I have a good chance of not being caught. So, yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, but that's just how it goes.
Here in Canada, it's indigenous prostitutes, so that's the one here that you can really stack up some numbers.
Oh yeah, and the final season of Dexter kind of really dealt with that. The new one they came out with, It really dealt with that, and I was really impressed that they actually shone a light on it, because you got, you know, the indigenous murders and everything of all these, you know, women and everything that are happening. It's mostly on the West Coast, though, right, Mark?
Very much so, actually. The stats are really weird that way. It's funny you should mention it. There's actually a really good show from the late 90s to early 2000s from Canada called Da Vinci's Inquest. And it's fiction, but it really follows. It was about basically Willie Pickton. How basically people were noticing, like, a lot of these women are going missing and not coming back, and how the police just over and over and over were like, you know, they're on drugs. Whatever. We'll get to it at some point. And then, you know, he kills at least 50 women before they stumble into him and his pig farm.
Holy crap.
Oh, yeah, you're talking about Willie Pickton. Yeah. I mean, Willie Pickton and the subject of our last episode, Bill Gunnis, they would have made a great couple, because they both had pig farms and they used them the same way.
Oh my God, that would have been the most disgusting couple. Jesus Christ! Oh man, just the stench wafting off of both of them at all times.
Right? Oh my God.
We just sleep in the hog shed. We don't worry about it.
Matt, serial. God, I for some reason this sounds familiar. Like I might have heard it on another podcast, but I don't give a shit. If I did, I'm stepping on your toes. I don't care. You know, I'm acknowledging it now. I might have heard this on another podcast, but. And now on Crimes, Killers, Cults, and Beer, serial killer dating. Tonight we have Willie Pickton and Belle Gunnis. Hell's Belle Gunnis.
Who's the poor bastard who has to marry Catherine Knight?
Oh.
Do you guys know that case? That's a rough one. An Australian woman who skinned her fucking husband.
Actually, she came up in last week's episode. We brought her up briefly.
She is so terrible, man. Like, she skinned him, hung up the hide, and then stuck bits of him in a fucking cooking pot. And then set the table for his kids. Yeah, like over the top.
Shit.
Yeah.
Australia Todd
goes hard.
Todd is the guy who's finding out about the true crime subjects and everything. It's just like he's hearing most of the time he's hearing them for the first time. So you kind of just ruined the Catherine Knight episode for me there, Mark.
No, it's fine. It is totally fine.
That's what I do. I ruin things.
No, not at all.
No, it's all good. But,
oh, wait.
But here on Crimes, Killers, Cults, and Beer, we're going to give this asshole the good stretching that he was always too afraid to experience.
All right.
This episode's going to be our normal research and levity.
Levity.
But this one is also going to have a personal experience, which we will get to. And if this is your first time hearing this podcast, you'll find out which of us had an encounter with this asshole later on in the episode. I mean, not literally.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Not literally his asshole. But
thankfully.
But if you've been listening the past few weeks, you know which host it was. But tonight you're going to find out which killer it was, because we've been teasing it. So let's dive right in, shall we?
Yeah, let's get going.
So Ron Dominique was the youngest of two children. His parents were laborers, and they lived in a trailer park outside Thibodaux, Louisiana. He lived his childhood and teen years in poverty, and he did graduate from Thibodaux High School in 1983. But after high school, he entered Nichols State University studying computers. But he got bored with it and he dropped out. So in school, he had a weird personality. He was shy. He had poor communication skills. He had weight problems. He also had low self-esteem. And he was sick a lot, so he got bullied a lot. But he was also in the school choir, so that didn't bode well for him.
Yeah, it's not going to help with the bullying. I feel like that's not going to help.
No.
That is not going to help one
No.
bit.
He didn't play sports. I mean, he was just a poor little, pitiful, he was a social outcast. He didn't play sports, so the jocks didn't like him. He didn't do drugs or drink, so the stoners didn't like him. So what's a little spud like him supposed to do?
Apparently the choir.
And
Yeah,
you know what?
choir.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine. I mean, he has a Louisiana accent, and unfortunately, that's one accent that I can't do.
Okay.
I wish I could, so I'm just not even going to try. So, but during his brief stint in college, he realized that he was gay, and since this was the mid '80s, the gay stigma didn't help his social status.
Oh.
He didn't come out of the closet publicly on purpose. Some of his classmates had seen him at a local gay bar, but I gotta wonder what the hell were they doing there to see him?
Well, yeah, that's always the question, right? Like, well,
Yeah.
you saw him where? Inside the gay club. Interesting.
Yeah.
Meaning you were inside the gay club. Yeah, but I was
And
only
you
there
were
to see
there,
who was
why?
there. Yeah.
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 Oh, I was just checking it out to see what goes on there, dude. I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got really good music. I can't help it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right.
But Todd, you and I have a, it's not there anymore, but it's just like there used to be over in Melbourne. There used to be a gay bar right next, like standalone gay bar right next to a standalone strip club.
It's a good combo. I like that.
Like, you know what I'm talking about, right? Bare Assets and
I think so.
Saturdays
Yeah.
on 192. But the funny thing is like, hey man, whenever you're like joshing somebody and giving them hell or whatever, it's like, man, I was on my way to Bare Assets and I saw your car parked outside Saturdays.
Yeah.
But Saturdays
Oh,
burnt
God.
down.
Those were the days, man.
Saturday's burnt down though. It's no longer there. But that don't matter. Hashtag, but I digress.
Yes, we digress.
So he's had a shitty life up to this point. Poor baby. It happens. Don't like your life? Change it for the better.
It
Don't
doesn't
take
even
it out.
sound that terrible, though, right? Like, it's not like
No,
he's
it's.
usually
it sounds
serial killers' early lives are like, holy shit, well, obviously they started killing. Look what fucking happened to them. This guy sounds like he got bullied
right.
some, which is rough. Don't get me wrong,
Well, like
but I mean,
Eileen
serial
Wuornos,
killer, yeah.
Ed Kemper.
Right. Yep.
I mean, right, but but still, I mean, this guy. It doesn't matter what flipped their switch. Something did, and it just. Yeah, I had a shitty childhood. I didn't become a serial killer that you know of. But it's just. But now we're getting to his crimes, and we're gonna jump forward in there and everything. We're just gonna get to some like non-murder crimes and everything. Yeah, but his first arrest came in June of 1985. Ron Dominique was arrested for sexual harassment committed by the telephone.
He was making calls and shit.
Yeah, he was probably calling coworkers, who he thought they was sexy. Like, hey, big boy, he's Ronald.
Yeah.
I imagine it had to be pretty bad though for like to get charged for it in the mid '80s. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
right?
that seems more like in the mid '80s they'd just be like, "Oh, stop that." So I feel like
Yeah.
if he actually get
Yeah,
charged for it, he must have been pretty like. Ooh.
Well, maybe he was saying like, "Hey, it's Ronald, and I have a big McDonald for you. Do you have a big? Do you got a Big Mac attack?"
Shit. Damn.
So he was arrested for that, and he had to pay a $75 fine. To the state, of course, not to the guy the people who he grossed out on the phone, either for the image of Ron naked or the thought of eating McDonald's food.
God dang. Oh, man.
So because
this is going to be one of those episodes, isn't it?
I think they all are going to be from here on out because that's what works. So, but because Ron had dropped out of college, he followed his parents' footsteps, working low-paying, menial jobs, and he was a less than average worker. He was fired a lot due to disciplinary issues. So, he couldn't keep a job, so he'd sponge off of his mother and his sister.
That's pretty rough, too, when you can't keep menial jobs, because I've worked a lot of menial jobs that I haven't been fired from, and I have not taken them seriously. So I've always wondered.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, right. Like, how do you keep getting fired from these jobs where they're desperate for people because no one wants them?
Right.
Like, work back shift. If you show up and you can stand up, they'll let you do whatever, because it's the middle of the night and you're here.
Right. So you get fired from a menial job, you're doing something really wrong.
No shit.
So he didn't drink in college, but he did start shortly after because he got a DUI in 1994. And that was pretty much it until 1996, where he kind of escalated his crimes. I mean, before that, it's just like, okay, I'm Ron. I'm Ronald. Okay, I'm not going Pee-wee on this one. I can't. It's not. But in August of 1996, a partially naked teen jumped out of the window of Ron's sister's house. I mean, he had told the neighbors that Ron had raped him and tried to kill him. Dahmer and Gacy vibes.
That's a hell of an escalation, too, from, like, a gross call being Ronald McDonald to a DUI to, hey, a naked child jumping out your window.
Right.
Yeah, dude, that's...
But that's like, I mean,
anyway.
I know Dahmer had that happen, but didn't Gacy have that happen, too?
Somebody getting away from him? I can't quite remember.
I definitely know Dahmer did.
Yeah, and Gacy was...
No, I don't think Gacy did. It's somebody else. It doesn't matter. But Ron was arrested, and then when he went to court, police and the prosecutors couldn't locate the victim or even figure out who the victim was. So the case was thrown out later that year. So he was in jail for a while.
How did they not get the name of the victim? Like, I get
because the victim didn't call the police.
Oh shit!
He called them, and he said, "Hey, this guy did this to me," and then he just disappeared.
I gotcha. Fair enough.
So Ron goes dormant again for several years, but in February 2002, he was arrested for assaulting a woman in Terrebonne Parish during a Mardi Gras celebration. Ron's side of the story was that she was driving crazy and she hit a baby stroller. Ron to the rescue!
There we go.
He started bitching her out like I can only imagine like a male Karen. I guess we'll call them Carls.
Carls.
But like demanding that she apologize, and she did. She's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't paying attention or whatever." And Ron just punched her in the face.
Fucking shit, Ron. Damn.
So the case was dropped because Ron and the woman came to an agreement, and then Ron later apologized to her.
I'm sorry for punching you in the face.
Sorry
over
for punching
nothing.
you in the face. Yeah.
Shit.
Jesus.
So, Ron's got to be feeling kind of bulletproof at this point because he's, attempted murder, 2 assault charges and everything. First physical and the second by vocal cheeseburger.
That sounds like a really rough punk rock song, man.
Vocal cheeseburger.
Vocal cheeseburger. Or a really bad band. Ugh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, by this time, Ron had completely embraced his sexuality, and he'd spent most of his free time in gay bars, often doing drag shows dressed as Patti LaBelle. Not kidding.
Patti
did
LaBelle.
Good
did
pick.
not make that up.
I mean, If you're going drag, that's not a bad pick to go for.
True. I mean, you know.
I like a little more understated, but that's just me.
Well, no, I like her. I like her songs. I mean, you know, Lady Marmalade, and her duet with Michael McDonald. And once again, when I try to think of something, I can't think of it. But whatever. On my own. That's it.
Yeah.
But no, I like.
I'm glad you remembered it because I never would have fucking got it.
I'm sitting here like they did a duet. What the fuck? Seriously?
Yeah, Patty did a duet with Michael McDonald. The song "On Your Own." It's a good song.
I know.
But you know, Patty was his. You know, he was Patty's #1 fan.
Oh boy.
But, no, he didn't stalk Patty. Don't worry. But he couldn't land a serious boyfriend, and he was the guy who would show up at the bar and everybody would say "ugh" when he walked in.
Ugh.
And this was at.
Oh, fuck! You got me with that one.
And this is
damn it.
And this is at gay bars, and gay bars are usually pretty accepting of anybody that walks in. I mean, it's kind of like not normal to have somebody shunned at a gay bar.
Just be openly repulsed by someone. Like, oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Oh my God. Yeah,
but when he walked in, it was kind of like the mediocre singer. It was kind of like the mediocre singer who can sing with a high falsetto, kinda, and he shows up at a karaoke bar and everybody knows that he's going to make their ears bleed by butchering Queensryche or Steelheart. And okay, I was expecting a laugh off of that one, but whatever.
I know.
Sorry, I don't know Queensryche that well.
I know. I was supposed to laugh and I didn't because I don't know. I'm just. I've also had a pretty crappy fucking day, so you know it is what it is.
Yeah.
I think high falsetto though. I think of what's his name from I can't even think of the name. Don't worry about it. I totally forgot it. There you go. Stoner brain just kicked in. Right. Don't worry about me. Judas Priest. That's who I think of.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's some shrieky. Woo.
Oh, Robbie.
But there were. I mean, it's just like, I wasn't one of them, because I can sing high and everything, but I wasn't. If I knew I couldn't do a song, I wouldn't try it, So
fair enough.
But it's like there's people out there that could sing, like kind of high and everything, and then they get up there and they try to sing like Queen of the Reich by Queensryche, which is super high, and it's just like. It's like 3 steps too low, like too low and everything. It's just, or it just sounds like a wailing baby or something like that. Well,
yeah, a lot of screeching.
Yeah, that's what I'm picturing. That's what I'm picturing him like
on karaoke night.
On karaoke, drag queen karaoke with Ron Dominique as Patti LaBelle.
That sounds rough.
Right.
But like I mentioned. What were you saying?
I was just going to say, my karaoke song is fucking Raining Blood, so that's never gone over well, but I feel like this would be worse. Yeah. People just stare.
Yeah.
So like I mentioned, Ron Dominique's victims were mostly teenagers, and, all the way up to the mid-40s. Most were gay, but not all were. Most were not. Or most were African American, but not all were. He would meet them during stalking sessions, either on a walk or slow drives through the parishes or whatever in his pickup truck or his car.
I gotta say, if you ever find yourself on a stalking session, something has gone wrong with your life. Like, as soon as it's you notice that's what I'm doing, it's like, shit, I need to reconsider some things. Fuck. That's so bad. A stalking, sorry, that combo of words got to me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not going to call him trolling right now. I'm going to get to that, but so because there's a BTK jab coming. So, yeah, he would also pick them up in gay bars, but not always gay bars. He would entice them by offering money or liquor or drugs, in exchange for sex. And if he struck out with a straight man, he would either offer group sex with him and his supposed wife or girlfriend, or just straight up one-on-one sex with said wife or girlfriend. And sometimes he would have a picture, and that picture, later found out, was of his niece.
Oh, no.
I agree with Todd. Oh, no. Oh, yeah. Jesus. I
do, too.
Oh, God, we're going here. All right, here we go.
Right.
So he would lure them back to his trailer where he would tie them up and then overpower them, rape them, and strangle them, and then dump their bodies in wherever. But
just wherever.
Just wherever.
Yeah.
That sounds good. I'm about right here.
We're gonna get to more details and everything. I'm just giving breadcrumbs and everything. There's a method to my madness on all this. It's leading somewhere. So I mean, yeah, I got these notes done quickly, but I was meticulous with there's a reason why I'm doing this. I'm giving you what you need as we go, and there we go.
All right.
And I'm also holding back some things as well. So
yeah.
That was just the Reader's Digest condensed version, so buckle up.
All right. Bill likes saying buckle up, man, but all right.
I love saying buckle up. I also like saying chucklehead, too. Ron Dominique is a chucklehead.
Right.
So Ron's first victim was on a nuclear vessel. No. Ron's first victim was in July
Star
of
Trek.
Yes. Was in July of 1997. A 19-year-old black man named David Mitchell. David was hitchhiking back home from his grandmother's house, and he had attended a relative's birthday party. And he was found in a ditch with shallow water in St. Charles Parish 2 days after he was last seen. Forensic shows no physical trauma, no drugs, no alcohol, nothing out of the ordinary other than ditch water in his lungs.
Okay.
It was initially listed as an accidental drowning, but David, according to his family, was an excellent swimmer. His parents, David's pants were dropped to his ankles when he was found, and Ron confessed to this, but David's family refused to believe that he was gay.
Oh.
But the thing is, this is just my thoughts. I think that they fooled around in the ditch, and that's where the murder happened.
Yeah.
But
sounds like dude, you can drown somebody in an inch of water if you try hard enough.
Right. So that's why I think that their little encounter happened there in the ditch.
Nothing like a good old ditch bag.
Yeah,
whether it was consensual or not, who knows? But there weren't any signs of struggle on him or anything like that. But they probably fooled around in the ditch. And Ron and his fat ass probably just got on top of him and held him face down in the water.
The worst power top.
Yeah, no shit, right?
Yeah. I mean, you can drown somebody in just a couple inches of water. So
especially with a big fat ass on top of you. Yeah.
Yeah. So the next two murders were in St. Charles Parish. In December of 1997, 20-year-old Gary Pierre was found dead, fully clothed, with no signs of physical trauma. Ron Dominique confessed that he had strangled him, but also no drugs or alcohol was found in his body. So it's likely that Ron had lured him with money And because he had recently been arrested for drug trafficking.
Right.
Next in July of 1998, he killed 38-year-old Larry Ranson. He was a homeless junkie, and according to forensics, the guy had been tied up and raped.
Okay.
So by this time, Ron Dominique had a ravenous sexual appetite. He was hungry, and beer wasn't taking any of his cravings away. So because at this point he was a raging alcoholic.
That never helps.
No. So in October of 1998, his plan was complete, and he, as far as like how he was going to take care of this craving. So he picked a certain spot at the French Quarter, and he parked his car in the dark spot and went trolling.
Oh, here we go, trolling again.
He's graduated to trolling.
Trolling. Lots of serial killers called it trolling. Yet BTK in his trial made it seem like he had come up with like it was some sort of genius original revelation or whatever.
Right, like it was his thing.
Like it was his thing, but
that's BTK, man. He was the most brilliant, and everyone had to know it. And he got caught by, what was it, the fucking floppy disk that they traced back because he's an idiot. The only time I ever want to cover BTK is in a fucking roast. That guy is such a joke.
You know what? We've said that we're not going to revisit our BTK episode because of the fact that it was just so god-awful of an experience. But if the three of us want to reconvene and do it like sometime later on down the road and just totally just like rip him to shreds or whatever, maybe for like a Patreon episode for both of us or whatever.
Because seriously, I would love to do that. There are a couple in particular that I just find really roastable instead of coverable. Because they're usually big guys like that, too, like BTK, and the other one who I despise is Richard Ramirez. There's just something about
we already
that
covered
scummy...
him.
He's just such a scummy little fuck, though. I just want to roast him. So I could definitely see that.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That'd be fun. It's like a Patreon episode, because we've said that we're not going to redo the BTK debacle. That's what we call our BTK episodes.
Yeah.
I feel like
it was definitely a debacle.
I feel like I could call every episode of Mental Illness Theater the debacle.
No,
whatever.
This one was different. I'm not going to get into why, but if you want to know why, just look at the episode. I've added why it's a debacle into the description. I basically said, don't listen to these two episodes. but we're leaving them up there because it shows growth. That's where we were. This is where we are now. So, but Ron Dominique knew that he looked like a potato, and even when he dressed up like Patti LaBelle, people still didn't like him.
Patty Potato.
Patty Potato.
Sorry.
Friggin' love
it. And after a while, he decided on his victim, 27-year-old Oliver LeBanks. This was his first trolling, stalking victim. Now, LeBanks was a hustler. He was a pickpocket, and he was a small-time drug dealer. And he was trolling, too. He was looking for some easy money. And LeBanks told his brother that he liked going for the older gay men because they all wanted younger men. And so these two street trollers would soon make each other's acquaintances at a gay bar called Take a Guess.
Oh, God. Pickles.
Nope.
Franks and Beans.
Nope. You're closer than Mark was, though.
God, I don't want to know.
Rawhide.
Rawhide.
No, it's terrible.
Rawhide. Oh my God.
So the place was bouncing and it was packed. And Ron Dominique was sitting at the bar alone wishing he could have a good time, feeling very sorry for himself, but he was still on
looking like a potato.
Looking like a potato.
Looking like a potato.
Spud. I think I'm going to call him Spud for the rest of the episode.
Spud.
He's got potato energy.
Yeah, but I didn't have that written. I didn't have that. God damn it, John, you got me. You fucking got me. You got me.
That's gonna be another outtake right there.
No.
Well, you're not outtake, but you know what I mean. Like, whatever. When I start doing like TikTok videos, that's gonna be like.
Okay.
I'm gonna do all like the little funny moments, like the little zingers that I throw out that crack you the fuck up.
Oh God. Oh man.
Yeah.
Crazy thing is right now I'm sitting in a fucking hotel that Ron Dominique would have probably like been happy living in.
Oh God.
Oh yeah, here we go.
But so he was still on a mission, but LeBanks came up to Ron and he asked Ron, if he liked to have a good time.
Looking for a date.
Yeah, Ron's like, yeah, I like to fool around. So, I wish I could do anything remotely resembling a Cajun accent, but I can't. That's one that eludes me. But Ron told LeBanks that he didn't have any money for a motel or anything, but they could go have fun in his car. How romantic! And
car date.
Ron would pay him. He said that he had $20 or $30 on him, and LeBanc said that would be enough to get a blowjob. And so they walked out to Ron's car. They got in, and LeBanc went down on Ron for a bit. And then they started 69ing each other.
Party time.
He then told LeBanc to lay down on his stomach, and Ron began plowing him. And
oh boy!
And when he was done, he told LeBanc to get on top of him and rub his dick on his asshole. No penetration.
Do not stick it in. Just like rub it.
Yeah.
Not even the tip. God damn it.
Not even the tip.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Now.
Oh man.
Now, I'm just going to give you a little bit right now. Just a tip.
Oh God.
So Ron tells him that he had been violently raped while in jail, and that his asshole had been split. Quote, split.
Oh.
So he said that penetration hurt too bad for him to receive it, and all he could do was have the outside of it rubbed on him.
Jesus Christ. I'm fucking dying over here. I can't help it. I laugh when I'm uncomfortable.
Man, right?
Holy shit, that's horrible.
Was he on an exclusive diet, exclusive soup diet too?
It better be bland if it was split, man. Any spice, you're just gonna feel that all fucking day.
Soupy poopies are what's best for Mr. Potato Torso.
God no, fuck.
But
oh shit.
The pain is a hot trigger issue for Ron throughout the rest of the story, and LeBanc started grinding, but Ron thought that he felt a little bit of penetration and he lost it, so he reached down to the floorboards and he grabbed a tire iron and he bashed LeBanc over the head with it, and he hit him so hard that like blood begins seeping out of his ears.
Holy crap!
That's a quick turn.
Yeah, but
that's just fucking killing somebody. I mean, fuck.
But he wasn't able to get a full swing because they were in the car. So he then strangled LeBanc with a belt to death, and then Then he jumped into the driver's seat and sped off looking for a place to dump the body. And he actually says this. He wanted a place to where, he wanted to find a place where he would be found because he wanted the notoriety. Yeah, and so he finally pulled onto a side road next to an overpass, and he, near the New Orleans airport, and he dumped it there, and the body was found the next day.
Oh.
So yeah, he doesn't even care. He's just like, as long as it's not found in my fucking car, it's all good.
Right.
He wanted it found, just, he didn't want anybody to see him dumping the body. So the lead detective, Dennis Thornton, on the scene, he began comparing this murder to the other 3 murders before the Banks. And although they weren't identical, there were similarities, and Thornton surmised that they were dealing with a serial killer. Ron Dominique didn't realize it, but, he was done. I mean, Thornton wasn't going to stop until he found the serial killer. And, thank God for the determination because, it took a long ass time and everything, but, it was because of, like Ron, or because of Detective Thornton and others that, Ron was actually caught.
All right. Well, at least they caught him. Eventually. I mean, I know we're not there yet, but still.
So during the autopsy, Caucasian hairs and Ron's semen was found on the banks. So later in 1998, Ron Dominique met 16-year-old Joseph Brown and lured him back to his truck to sell him cocaine. The two shared it. Yeah, Ron raped him, and then he beat him on his head with a blunt object and strangled him. A month later, 18-year-old Bruce Williams met a similar fate, and both bodies were dumped where they would be easily found.
Right.
Ron Dominique wouldn't strike again until May of 1999. 21 Emmanuel Reed. Reed was trying to sell drugs, and Ron led him to his truck where he raped him and strangled him. And then he dumped Reed into a dumpster in an industrial area near where Brown's body had been found.
Well, I'm starting to see a pattern here.
Oh yeah,
right.
And
very distinct one.
And he never deviates. His MO never changes. But semen was found on Reed as well. Thornton was 100% positive that it was a serial killer at this point. A month later, Ron Dominique strangled 21-year-old Angel Mejia, a homeless man who had drug charges. Ron tried to throw him into a dumpster, but he was too heavy for Ron to lift up, so he just left him in front of the dumpster.
The potato couldn't get the body in the dumpster.
Oh, fuck.
I would actually... I mean,
you know what?
This is in bad taste, and I know it's with a body, but I would actually like to have seen that scene, to just watch him struggle with it.
Oh, I know.
I'm like, God damn it.
Oh, fuck it, dude. You're just saying here, I'm out.
God, this is another situation where I really wish I could do a fucking Cajun accent. Well, a Louisiana accent, a native Louisiana. It wasn't Cajun. But, so Detective Thornton was frustrated. Ron Dominique was leaving prints. He was leaving DNA and tire tracks. And, but literally was literally nothing was coming up. Yeah, what they had wasn't...
You need something to be able to compare it to. Like, it's good to have the evidence, but if you don't have something to compare, what you find to. Yeah.
I said Prince, but he had already been arrested before, so so he didn't. I shouldn't have written Prince, but because they obviously didn't have Prince, because if they had, then they would have been like, okay, this is Ronald Dominique. So,
Right.
but it's just like, but they're leaving, and this is like like before DNA was like a thing or whatever. But still, like Mark was saying, it's just like they didn't have anything to compare it to.
Uh-huh.
I mean, he's leaving all sorts of evidence, and at the time, they, the technology was burgeoning, but they didn't have, but they still didn't have anything to compare it to, as far as like Ron's DNA.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'd be willing to bet that nowadays they could probably, just like when they take your fingerprints, so get DNA off of that as well. I don't know. Maybe. Who knows?
Maybe. Who knows? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I really don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
it wouldn't
dude,
surprise me.
I've watched all those shows, but yeah, dude, I don't know what they can do and can't do.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if that's if that's not a thing now. It probably will be in the next 5 years.
Right.
But they didn't have a suspect, and things were bad. But they got worse, because on June 23rd of 1999, the newspaper, The Advocate, ran a headline announcing that there could be a serial killer at work.
Oh.
It mentioned that bodies were found near the New Orleans airport, and that Medjez and Brown knew each other. Soon, as we learned from Richard Ramirez, it's never good when the newspaper gets involved.
Right.
No.
Oh, shit, they're looking for what kind of shoes? Yeah, well.
Yeah, right. Let me change shoes.
Yeah. But still, soon the TV stations, and we're getting there. But soon the TV stations were running the story, and the internet sleuths got involved as well, and it was a total shit show. So, in August of 1999, Ron Dominique met 34-year-old Mitchell Johnson, and he offered him drugs for sex, and he took Mitchell into the woods where he raped him and strangled him. And he dumped him fully nude off of the same overpass, next to the same overpass where he had dumped LeBancs.
Oh.
So even with the press coverage, he's just still like, yep, whatever.
Well, we're getting there. He does kind of bolt coming up, but he doesn't go all the way from like Los Angeles to San Francisco like Richard Ramirez did.
Yeah.
All right.
So, Detective Thornton didn't know if the killer was extremely overconfident or just stupid and sloppy, or if he was just toying with the police. Because of the fact that it's just like, okay, well, we've got this one here.
Me yet. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly. So, witnesses said around the time that Johnson disappeared that there was a white male, mid-30s, receding hairline with puffy cheeks cruising around, and a sketch was released. It obviously wasn't a good sketch, but Ron Dominique must have seen the article with the sketch, because in November of 1999, he quit his job and he moved to Houma, which is about 50 miles west of New Orleans, off of I-10.
Mm-hmm.
Houma was a quiet but extremely poor Cajun town, and they had weathered hurricanes and everything, but they weren't ready for what was coming next.
Right. And they hunt. That's where the alligator hunters on that TV show. A lot of them are there.
Houma?
In Houma.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, some of them are in Houma. Some of them are, I mean, they're all over the place. But yeah, there's some in Houma. I remember, because I used to watch that shit all the fucking time, dude, just because I'm an idiot.
But, Hurricane Ron was coming to Houma.
Oh, fuck.
Hurricane Ron.
But he wasted no time, and on New Year's Eve in 1999, he claimed his first victim there. 23-year-old Michael Vincent, he was 5'7", 121 pounds soaking wet. He hustled sex with men, and he ran into Ron, who did his usual, strangled him in his truck, then raped him, dumped him out on the road. Except he threw this guy like half and half onto a barbed wire fence.
Whoa.
Yeah, seriously though.
Damn.
When they found him, crack was found on Vincent, and there were ligature marks on his wrist. And it's unknown whether or not Vincent was raped. I mean, nothing was left behind on this one. So maybe he had changed his MO just a little bit, but not much.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, maybe Vincent just didn't do it for him, and he just wanted to kill him. Or maybe he wanted it, like freaking Angus Sinclair's, that one victim of Angus Sinclair's. She wanted it really bad, and so he's just like, fuck it, I'm not going to rape you, I'm just going to kill you, because you want it.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, cut out the middleman.
You want to fuck, that turns me off.
That's interesting, because that's probably exactly what happened.
Right.
You know, I'm going to cite my sources a little late.
A little late, but yeah.
But I do like to cite my sources. But main source was the book, The Bayou Strangler, New Orleans's or Louisiana's. Fuck. The Bayou Strangler, Louisiana's most gruesome serial killer, by Fred Rosen. That's the main source of all this, and then also Wiki, and there's a documentary called Bayou Blue. From October 2000 to October 2002, Ronald Dominique lay low from killing, and this is when he had those brushes with the law that I mentioned in the beginning. It's like where he punched a woman and all that stuff. And
oh, okay.
So most serial killers behave themselves during their spree, other than the killings themselves, because they're not going to get busted for doing something stupid. But not Ron.
Oh, no. Of course not.
Or not paying gaskets, for that matter.
I love it when it's stupid stuff. Yeah. Like, I love that it was Charles Ng fucking stealing a goddamn vice that brought him and Leonard Lake down. Because it's just like, you stole a fucking vice from a hardware store. You idiot.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
That's so bad. I love it.
That was Ng, right?
Yeah, Charles Ng and Leonard Lake,
Ng.
yeah.
Yeah, but that was Ng, right? That was Ng.
Yeah, sorry, that was definitely Ng who did, because he was just he was a fucking maniac, and kleptomaniac was part of that maniac. It just never stopped. Anything bad he wanted to do.
Yeah. Well, that's on our future list. I mean, we don't have a big time future list, but he's definitely on it.
Nice.
But during that time, Ron was, he was being good. He had gotten a job working for a produce company, but he was also like trying to make money and everything. And Mark, you're gonna laugh your fucking ass off about this, because he got a job delivering pizza for Domino's.
Nice, Domino's. Fuck. God damn it. That's hilarious. Yeah, you messaged me earlier and it auto-corrected, and it looked kind of like Domino's, and I responded back, Ron Domino's.
Yeah.
Could you imagine, though, this asshole showing up with your pizza? Fuck, man.
I know.
Oh, God.
But, it's just like, hello? I'm Ron. I got your pizza here. I can't do a freaking... I want to do an accent so bad, but I can't do a Cajun one. I can't even do a bad Cajun one.
I just imagine someone looking at Ron and being like, I don't know why, but you smell like rape. What is wrong with you? Like, what the fuck? And why? Don't touch my food. No, take it back.
Yeah,
take
right?
It back
Holy
now.
fuck.
Like,
Where the hell did you come from?
Well, here's your pizza. We got a little bit of cayenne pepper on there.
Oh.
That's like the best I can do with Cajun accent, and that's just like a tiny little clip of Justin Wilson.
Oh, that's good stuff, I guarantee.
I guarantee. Shitty Domino's pizza, I guarantee. But if Domino's wants to sponsor us, I love Domino's.
Although they did hire a rapist killer while he was a rapist killer to deliver their pizzas. So I don't know if that sponsorship's coming through.
This is true.
Hi, dude, I love Domino's. Actually, around here, Domino's is probably one of the best pizzas, dude. I always order Domino's.
Man,
and I'm not just saying that to get the sponsorship. I really do like it.
I think as far as the chains go, I think Pizza Hut's my favorite chain. But whenever I order pizza, I look for like a local, like New York style pizza place.
Yeah.
Yeah, same.
But that wasn't the craziest thing. It's just like, old Ron Dominique had a little soft side too. Because he volunteered as a bingo caller for senior citizens.
What the fuck, Ron?
All right.
Yeah, seriously. Oh, what? Okay, I guess. Jesus Christ.
I didn't see that coming.
Like,
okay.
That's very strange.
Like,
yes.
13, bingo. Well, it's a good thing because reminds me of when my last victim, he was like going, when I was killing him.
Just staring at some grandma who wanted bingo and being like, you got any grandsons?
Oh my God, Mark! I had a fucking mouthful of beer. It's like my notes did not get sprayed.
Sorry about that. But yeah, that's all I could see is him eyeing up. So I'm like, oh yeah, you're kind of cute. You got any fucking grandsons?
You got any grandsons?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh God.
That's awesome. Oh God. These are too normal. I don't like it. No. He should not be going bingo and delivering pizzas.
Yeah, definitely.
But all the while, his inner monster was still hungry. Now, I guess eating pizza didn't cure that either. But he was starting to use his pizza job as a way to troll. Obviously, learning the roads and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So he moved his trailer to a desolate spot at a shipyard that his brother-in-law worked at. But there was an empty space. There was nothing and everything. There was no artificial light there. And there was water running through there. And the warm Bayou waters were perfect to speed up decomposition.
And didn't you just mention a lot of alligators around there too?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's nothing. There's as many alligators in Louisiana as there are in Florida. Well, not as many because Florida's a bigger state, but
we don't get too many alligators up here in Canada, and I kind of like that.
I can't imagine why.
Yeah, right.
So next, Ron Dominique met 20-year-old Kenneth Randolph. Now, this guy was a 3-time prosecuted child molester.
Oh, wow.
And Ron Dominique lured him to his trailer, telling him that he had a young girl there who wanted to have sex with him.
Oh.
And once he was inside, he attacked Kenneth, raped him, and murdered him, and dumped his half-naked body into a field, and it was found a couple of days later.
Oh,
on this one, fair enough. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and it gets even better because he staged this guy he staged this guy with like he staged him with like his hands sprawled out and his ass cheeks like
splayed,
pushed wide, wide. Well, not played, but no, he staged this guy. So it's like, okay, so even a piece of shit like Ron Dominique, he's got some morals. Yeah, I mean, he'll
I guess if you want to call it that, but yeah,
he'll rape and kill a 16-year-old kid, but he's got a problem with it when it's a 12-year-old girl.
16
or
is
whatever.
Apparently the cutoff. It's a hard cutoff for him.
yeah, right.
Right.
Yeah.
But you know what? Okay, I got no problem with that murder.
No, like seriously, fair enough. You're both evil, terrible people, but they're. I get it.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Oh, with the paper thin walls in this hotel, with the power being out, I feel sorry for my neighbors next door because now they're gonna hear the shit that I'm talking. They're gonna call the police on me.
Oh yeah, I'm terrified. We recorded in our living room, and our window faces the front, which is the road. And in the summer, we'll have the windows wide open. I know people have walked by at very inopportune times where it's been like, oh yeah, people heard that. That's bad. And
right.
Yeah, they can just look at the address and be like, yeah, that place is fucking crazy. What are they doing there?
Well, I'm sure that everybody else staying in this hotel has reported the outage, so I don't have to because I'm doing a fucking podcast. So,
yeah.
But so later in October of 2002, Ron Dominique pulled up next to a 26-year-old Anoka Jones he was riding a bike, and he asked Jones if they could talk. So they pulled up to the curb and chatted for a few, and then Anoka left, and he went home. And he dropped his bike off, and he kissed his girlfriend goodbye, and then he took off. He got into Ron's truck, and they drove off together, and then he attacked him, raped him, strangled him, and he covered his body, and he put it in the back seat, and he took off to find a dump spot. He literally drove right past a cop with a dead body in the truck.
Holy shit.
So Jones was ironically found by a cop the next morning. A notorious drug dealer named Big Julius was questioned.
Big Julius.
Yeah. Big Julius.
Oh, I love it. Fucking Big Julius. Hell yeah.
He was questioned, and he was being defensive, but he was cooperative, and the cops cleared him. Yeah.
All right.
So, in December of 2002, Ron Dominique met Datrell Woods, a 19-year-old who was notorious for home burglary. And he raped him, strangled him, dumped his body into
the set menu at this point.
Yeah, right.
In January of 2004, Larry's produce job laid him off, so he got a job as a meter reader.
Oh no!
Oh god!
Oh, no.
That's almost as good of a serial killer job as a phone repairman, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
BTK. So.
Oh boy.
But with that job, he even got to know the streets even better than he would have as a pizza guy, because he'd literally be going to every single house on the street and being able to see into the backyards and all that stuff.
Yeah, he's foot trolling basically at that point.
Yeah, every single house. And if anything, this is a step up from BTK because of the fact that it's like, he is supposed to be in every single house on the street.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Whereas BTK, it was just like, I just clipped your phone line. Need your phone fixed?
Right.
Need your phone fixed? Here, let me fix your phone.
Yeah. Well, couldn't fix the phone, so I'm just going to kill you.
Yeah.
So Detective Thornton put together he started putting together a task force. And, and he even brought in a couple detectives. I mean, he brought them in as like telephone consultants. But, but these were people that had worked on BTK's case. And, but BTK was still living, he hadn't been caught yet. This was before he had his momentary lapse of dumbass.
Right.
But if you listen to the episode, you know what I mean.
Yeah, right.
And I'm not saying go listen to the episode. I'm saying don't go listen to those episodes.
Yeah, right. That's the only one we will ever say don't listen to.
Yeah. Yep. So
Right.
later in 2004, he killed 21-year-old Michael Barnett, and he was on a bike, and Ron Dominique pulled up to him, much the same way that he did with Anoka Jones, but Barnett was missing, and he had arguments with family members, and he had disappeared. But when he was found, the family obviously put their arguments aside and cooperated with the police. And when he was found, he was found in an empty storage unit a month after the murder, and he was found because fluids were leaking out of the storage unit, but the storage unit wasn't locked. It wasn't
locked. Holy fuck!
No, it wasn't locked. So they opened it, but he was so badly decomposed. I mean, we're talking October in New Orleans. October in New Orleans is a lot like October in Florida, which is still hot and fucking humid.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So, I mean, it was all bloated and everything, and the only thing that could actually, identify him was, he had a very unique dragon tattoo.
Oh.
And that was what basically...
And that was still there?
Well, I mean, it was still visible. I wouldn't say it was still there, but it was still visible.
Oh, my God.
I know, right?
Yeah, right. Like, I don't even want to think of the condition of that tattoo, but here we are.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, dude, if fluids are leaking out from under the door, and this guy is, like, putrefied for sure.
Oh, yep. Whew.
Well, you'd think that the smell would have like tipped them off before seeing the fluids leak out. But although there's a couple paper mills in New Orleans.
Oh God, yeah.
So maybe
that'll cover up some stinks for sure.
Yeah, and that's just me speculating. But I've been to New Orleans. I smelled it. It stinks.
Yeah.
A lot of people say, "Oh, it's because of all the filth and everything." No, it's because they've got like 3 paper mills in that area.
Yeah, and that shit just smells horrid.
Yeah.
Oh God.
So I mean, it makes sense why it's just like, okay, well, even before the fluids started coming out, it's like why they didn't notice the stench,
right?
Because it's probably smelled normal.
Yeah. They're used to fucking stink floating around. I didn't even notice.
Mm-hmm. So, although
I know it's terrible, but
no, but it's the truth though. I mean, if you haven't smelled if you haven't been in the vicinity of a paper mill, I hope you never experienced it because it smells like death.
Yeah, it really does. Paper mills fucking. Oh, dude, it's like the worst stink ever.
In October 2004, Tropical Storm Matthew came through, and Ron actually killed 46-year-old Larry Matthews during it. Just before the storm, Ron Dominique had lured him to his trailer for drugs. Matthews OD'd and passed out. And while he was out, Ron raped him and strangled him, and then he dumped the body literally 20 miles away. And he left during the tropical storm. And once his body was found, the coroner had ruled that it was just a simple drug overdose.
Oh, crap. Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Freaking Bill Gunnis type investigation there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
Holy shit, yeah.
But up until this point, Ron Dominique had only killed black men, and I don't know if he had killed any Hispanic men. I'm not positive. I mean, Manuel was one of his victims. I mean, but still, that doesn't necessarily mean it was a Hispanic man. I couldn't find anything saying whether he killed any Hispanic men other than names that kind of sound Hispanic.
Fair enough.
Like Manuel.
Right on.
But he hadn't killed any white men until now. Although in 2000 he did try to lure a white man, but the white man told him to fuck off. Okay, due to technical difficulties, Todd has lost his internet, but he has instructed us to continue on, and he will come back in when he can.
Absolutely.
So Mark and I are going to continue this, and hopefully Todd comes back shortly. And it's just this episode is cursed, and we're not going to get into any reasons about it. I mean, we might reconvene, like maybe later tonight if Todd comes back just to record something.
Yeah, right.
For like an aside, just to explain everything from start to finish about this cursed episode. But it's just like whenever, there's always chaos involved in Crimes, Killers, Cults, and Beer. I don't know about mental illness theater.
We have our moments.
but we definitely, it's just like there's some crazy shit going on tonight. It just seems like the universe doesn't want us to record this episode, which, it's just.
But we're going to truck on, right? So
we're going to truck on, and right now, hopefully Todd comes back soon. But right now, it's the Crimes, Killers, Cults, and Mental Illness show.
Right.
One-on-one. Hopefully Todd comes back shortly. I mean, I've got my phone in my hand. I have to. But that's something... Right. Yeah. So I'll see when he comes back. But hopefully it's soon. So, moving on. Although the task force was headed by Detective Thornton was working nonstop, they didn't have a single lead to the identity of the serial killer. And it drove Thornton crazy how sloppy this guy was, but he wasn't leaving any clues or tangible evidence. It's like Ron Dominique was always one step ahead of him, and at this point, he was...
like a ghost,
he had
basically.
Just
yeah.
Well, he was a ghost, but he had also tied Dahmer at 15.
He's getting up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously, though.
So, in February of 2005, the body of 22-year-old Leon Lorette, a homeless alcoholic who had previously lived with two of Ron Dominique's victims, Barnett and Aruka Jones. This guy was even considered a prime suspect in Jones's murder.
Holy shit.
He was the last one to see Jones alive.
Interesting. So, yeah, there's starting to be some connections there.
Yeah. So, but a father and son and the son's friend decided to go bike riding near an airfield when they discovered Lorette's body buried in some bushes.
Hey.
Huh? Todd's back. Todd's back. I hear you. I hear you, Todd.
Same.
Do you hear me? Okay, well, you only missed about a minute and a half because me and Mark were just venting about how cursed this episode is.
Stupid fucking internet. Anyway, I'm back, so carry on. Just pick up from where you were.
Okay, well, you haven't missed much, but
no worries.
So, but they discovered Lorette's body with in some bushes, same MO, bruises, blood, ligature marks, signs of strangulation, semen. The autopsy showed that that Lorette had been extremely drunk when he died.
Oh.
Like schnockered. Like I'm going to be at the end of this freaking episode because of all the fucking bullshit that's going on in this cursed episode. This episode is so cursed. But we'll reconvene and just like tell everybody everything that's gone on over the past like 5 hours or so leading up to this episode and into this episode. This episode is cursed. But
indeed.
But the Homa Courier paper ran a story about the discovery of his body, but nobody cared. I mean, it's just like, okay, dead guy, druggy,
filled with alcohol. No one really cares.
African American.
Yeah.
Who cares? And no, I'm not saying who cares about African American. You have to specify these things.
It's how the media works, though, right? Like exactly. I said with Canada, with Indigenous people, nobody cares. So you can print the story, but if no one reads it, then they're going to stop printing that story, and that's how it happens here. Yeah.
So, in a poor area that was, predominantly African American, that had like records and stuff like that, drug area and everything. Nobody gives a shit.
Yeah.
And it's just like I'm not gonna. This episode is gonna be long enough as it is, so I'm not gonna get into. I'm not gonna get into.
We know what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. I lean libertarian when it comes to drugs. Legalize everything. But just like I said, the majority of Ron's victims were black, poor, and had criminal histories. But the police did get a lead, though. A white man in a white truck. The white guy was wearing a red hat, had a busted lip, and he walked with a limp.
Oh.
But that lead went nowhere. I mean, police located the man and questioned him, but he was released with a warning that they'd be watching him. Like, I'm watching you, but you know what? It was Ron Dominique.
Oh, shit.
Oh.
They had him. They had him right there.
Goddamn.
Oh, damn.
But this is less about, incompetence of police and more about how stupidly effective this guy was.
Oh.
It's like he wasn't trying to be like this criminal mastermind and everything. He was just like dumping people wherever the hell or whatever. I mean, he was smart enough not to leave any fingerprints or whatever, but he also, he wasn't getting caught. They had no clue who he was.
Yeah.
They literally had him. They questioned him.
Oh, shit.
So 2 months later, Ron Dominique met 31-year-old August Watkins, a homeless man.
Mm-hmm.
Ron lured into his place, promising him a place to stay, alcohol, sex with a woman who was at his place. Watkins agreed, And once they got there, they went inside. Ron assaulted him, strangled him, and dumped the body. I mean, it's just, his MO doesn't change.
Yeah, it's the set menu, right?
Yeah. So you would think that an episode like this would be that easy to cover, but it's not. So later that month, 25-year-old Kirk Cunningham, another white victim, was found in a ditch. The coroner couldn't conclude on the cause of death, but he couldn't rule out asphyxiation.
Okay.
All right.
And in July of 2005, Alonzo Hogan was found in a cane field, fully clothed, and but he had been raped and strangled. Later in July, 17-year-old Wayne Smith's body had been found. His death was inconclusive, but strangulation couldn't be ruled out.
All right.
Following the menu.
And police and detectives still had absolutely nothing to go on. They had no clue who Ron Dominique was, and they also don't realize that they've been right on top of him several times.
Oh shit! Yeah.
A couple weeks later, Hurricane Katrina hits.
Ugh.
Oh.
So,
God.
yeah. So police and police resources and everything are redirected to help with aid and rescue. But apparently, Ron Dominique didn't get the message. He didn't get the memo.
Uh-oh.
Because he kept going. Yeah, because he kept going strong. Now, in October of 2005, Hurricane Katrina is long gone and everything, but still, it's just like New Orleans was a disaster area during that time.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, it was.
A man named John Banning was a parolee who had served time for a minor drug charge. His parole officer was a guy named Tom Lambert, who just happened to be on the serial killer task force.
Oh, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So Banning needed money, and he was horny. Yeah, he
that's a bad combo.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, seriously though.
He had just been released from, I don't know if it was from jail or from prison, but Ron Dominique's, yeah, either or, but Ron Dominique spotted him walking along the highway, and he pulled up next to him and asked him if he wanted a beer. He's like, "Hey, you want a beer? Where are you going?"
That's how I do it.
Yeah, that's how you lure victims, Mark.
That's how I got Gina. No, the
Did
truth
you
is
just
actually,
say that's how you? Did you say that's how you met
got me
Gina?
on that one.
actually, the truth is worse. We met on Tinder, so there's that.
Oh, there's that.
Yep.
Same thing.
Yeah, right.
Ron Dominique had a way of figuring out if a guy was gay or if he was straight in a matter of just seconds of conversation.
Mm.
Yeah, and that's just
His gaydar was tuned, huh?
Very well tuned.
Yep. So Banning was straight. So he pulled out the picture of his niece and he says, and this, I swear to God, this is the direct quote that's in the freaking book, which comes from the transcript.
Oh.
Ron Dominique.
Okay.
And I picture when I read this, I picture like a Saturday Night Live skit with a white guy just being overly white.
Oh God, this is gonna be good.
Right.
So this is what's in the book, which is supposedly a direct quote from the transcript of what Ron Dominique said. how would you like to fuck this attractive white girl? She'd really like to make it with a guy like you.
That last bit, yeah, you nailed it. It sounds like a comedian trying to make fun of white people. She'd really like to get with you. Jesus Christ, yeah, man. Fuck.
Good God.
So,
holy crap.
But Banning didn't see any red flags off of this, so he got into Ron's truck.
Oh.
Like you said, just out of prison, so, probably not too picky, or the radar's not working that well. It's just like, yeah, some poo. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about it, you remember the original Hostel movie, Hostel, where it's just like, they're on the train and these guys, the baiters and everything, it's like, hey, and he shows them like pictures of these hot girls. They're here and they want to fuck you. Yeah, and right. The guys are like, okay, all right.
Okay.
So it's just, yeah.
It doesn't take much to lure horny men, basically.
Well,
no,
I don't.
No, it really doesn't.
That wouldn't work with me. I'd want to be on a video chat with said hot girl, and even then, I would still have questions.
Fair enough.
Oh yeah, but
So, all of Ron Dominique's victims showed signs that they had been tied up, and Ron Dominique explained that away as either being for his own protection because he wasn't very strong.
He's a potato.
Or maybe, yeah.
He's a potato.
God.
Oh boy.
You fit in right with us, Mark. I mean, that's something that me or Todd would have come up with.
That's the mental illness.
So, we'll get more details of this later, but you need to know that right now about the tying up thing.
Okay.
So Ron Dominique, like I said, there's a method to my madness on this one. Right. Ron Dominique told Banning, "Don't be surprised that I want to tie you up."
No. That's what you want to hear.
And Banning just looked at him, and I could just hear it. Excuse me?
Right.
So Ron continued saying, "Oh, there's a stigma in the world about being gay." And Banning's like, "I'm not gay." So, but he still stayed after that because I mean, after all, shit, I'm not going to blame the victim here, but he did have a picture.
Yeah.
Banning still stayed after that. He was there to fuck this hot white girl after all.
Right.
Maybe
he party.
Maybe he just wanted, to tie him up to ease the hottie's mind because he was a big guy.
Oh yeah.
So they arrived at Ron's trailer and they went inside. And Ron said, "I'll tie you up now. Take off your clothes."
Oh. So
Banning was looking around, and what he did see was a mess. Christmas decorations. See, this Christmas episode. Christmas decorations already up all over the place in early October. A portable toilet. Jugs of urine all over the place.
Oh, shit.
Stacks of gay porn magazines all over the place. But what Banning did not see was, take a guess.
The girl.
Exactly.
Yeah, where's the girl? I see a lot of huge red flags here, but I definitely don't see the girl in the photo. What the fuck's going on?
Yeah, right?
Right. So he bolted, and Ron didn't try to stop him. So he probably figured Banning could take him easily. So, Banning just walked out to the street and he hitchhiked home. He became only the third survivor of Ron Dominique, and there are actually two that are only known. But you know what? I'm the third one.
Yeah.
Story time.
Story
now
time.
we'll get to the story later. Like I said, I have a method to my madness.
All right, then.
So, right around that time, Detective Thornton and the other lead task detective, Don Bergeron, they were discussing how they could possibly come up with leads on this. They realized that they needed to come up with someone who had actually gotten away from Ron. So they had like people on the local task force and everything, and even people that weren't, that just they had everybody they come up with, like, go through their parolees and everything, just to come up with and ask them if they had ever experienced anything remotely similar to the scenario that had come up concerning the serial killer, but not as suspects, but as witnesses.
Makes sense.
So, yeah. So that's good detective. I mean, it's just, this task force that's been going on. I mean, they've been going on like hardcore and everything. It's just like they were working overtime pay for free and everything. They wanted this guy. They knew he was out there, but they didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
So it's just like you got to. I mean, it's just, I don't really put this on, like incompetence on the task force or anything like that. What I put this on is just like stupid luck by a fucking dumbass.
Yeah, it's the Gary Ridgway effect, right? Like just knowing enough to be able to get away with it for a long time, but almost being dumb enough not to worry about it too much while you're doing it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, Tom Lambert, he began going through his parolees and interviewing them, and he got to John Banning. And Banning told him what had happened with him and with Ron. So, Banning remembered the location, and Lambert called Thornton, and he and Bergeron met Lambert at the trailer, but nobody was home. But they opened the mailbox, and they found a letter, and the name of the recipient was Ronald J. Dominique.
The potato himself.
Huh?
The potato himself.
Yep, Mr. Potato Torso.
Oh, God. Here we go.
So, later, Thornton went back to the trailer, and he asked him to, he asked Ron to come in for questioning, and they asked about Banning, but he was cool, and he explained it like, well, yeah, I tried tying him up, but it was just a game, and he freaked out. So Thornton asked for a DNA sample, and Ron Dominique agreed to it and gave him one.
Huh.
Wow.
Not a very good move.
Yeah, he did. But it would take longer than usual. It would take longer than usual to get the results back, post Hurricane Katrina.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they let him go, but they had him under surveillance. They also put up roadblocks where a lot of, like near where a lot of the victims were found.
Mm-hmm.
But he would kill 3 more people before he was caught.
God damn.
Oh.
But
wow.
But in a similar scenario to Banning, a teenager named Ricky Wallace was having nightmares about surviving an encounter with Ron Dominique. But Ricky fought Ron and he actually beat him down and got Ron to take him home, to drive him home. This was a couple years earlier, and then he came forward once the news about Ron Dominique came out. Now, there's a discrepancy here. This may have been actually a retelling of Banning's case, but with different names.
Okay.
And like different circumstances, because Banning came from the book that was my main source here. But Wallace, the Wallace part came from a documentary called Bayou Blue. But both stories resulted in Ron Dominique becoming a prime suspect.
Okay.
Oh.
So it's basically, the same story told from a different point of view, whatever, embellishment. And that, things like that come up, and I just had to throw both sides. It's like they're basically telling the same story, just different versions of it.
Okay, right on.
So in September 2005, 40-year-old Chris DeVille was found in a ditch fully clothed. In November 2005, 21-year-old Nicholas Pellegrin was found in a ditch. He was working in his yard when a meter reader showed up, and Pellegrin noticed that he was short, but he was kind of heavy. And, of course, it was Ron. And he's just like, "How you doing?" And Pellegrin said that he was fine. And Ron Dominique invited himself back once he got off work and had some fun. And that was code for sex for money. And Pellegrin was broke, so he agreed. And then later, once, Ron got done with his rounds for the day, he came back and he picked him up and they took off to Ron's trailer.
Oh.
When he was found, he was fully clothed, but he had ligature marks and a gash on his head. And this was, and obviously been raped too, but this was the only victim who had had prior contact with Ron Dominique before being killed.
Weird.
Oh, okay.
Also making it hard for, investigators to find him where he has no contact with his victims beforehand, right?
Right, exactly. I mean, Ron Dominique was a freaking moron, but he got away with things by dumb luck. Yeah, I had just been rapid firing through some of the these last victims and everything because it's all the same story. Victim found in a ditch, signs of being assaulted, tied up, signs of strangulation and rape, with no hard evidence of who the killer was.
Right.
But later, Ron Dominique confessed to all of these, but the details weren't focused on because they had all they needed from earlier victims.
Yeah.
Ron Dominique, however, would, it's like, this isn't like some other cases like Pee Wee Gaskins or whatever, where it's just like, okay, well, we know he did this. Ron would actually take the police to every single dump site that he had, and we're going to get to that too.
All righty.
But in October of 2006, Ron Dominique got his final known victim, 27-year-old Christopher Sutterfield. He was found with ligature marks and died of asphyxiation. DNA was taken, and this was 11 days before Ron Dominique's DNA results came back.
Oh, man.
Oh.
December 1st, 2006, an arrest warrant was signed, and Ron Dominique was found at a homeless shelter, and he was arrested, and he's charged with 2 murders of Manuel Reed and Oliver LeBancs. They still didn't have the DNA results back, but it didn't matter. It didn't matter at all because, take a guess.
I have no idea.
Mark?
Same. I don't really know.
I'm at a loss.
He just started confessing to everything.
Oh, shit.
Oh, you did? Oh, see?
So-
I see that coming.
Yeah, it didn't even take any pressure or anything. Just, okay, you
Nope.
caught me, let's do that. I mean, some killers do that, and I kind of see it, too. Like, you know, I can see I'm going to go until I get caught, and as soon as I get caught, I'll just, like, tell them everything. Kind of makes sense.
Well, some of the detectives, you know, it's like one of the detectives was just like, yeah, and he was on the task force, and I think that this was a guy that was just like a I think he was one of the people from BTK, even though they hadn't caught BTK yet at this point. But it's just like, this is the fastest I've ever heard of a killer break.
Right? Just like, all right, here it is.
But you know, he didn't even ask for an attorney or anything like that.
Huh.
Yeah, but the thing is, some of his confessions, like some of his victims that he confessed to, they didn't even realize were murdered. Some of these victims were just listed as missing.
Yeah.
But like I said, he took them to every site where these people's remains were found.
So that's pretty convincing evidence, right? Like, I don't think,
Oh, yeah.
that's more than missing.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like, okay, it was like, all right, well, Jimmy Joe Bob, he just disappeared one day. I think he's over there at Main Street and 33rd Street.
No.
There he is.
He's in a ditch is where he is, yeah.
Never seen him before in my life.
He got power topped to death by a fucking crazy Cajun dude.
Well, I was out there and I was out there and I was looking at the stars, and he was out there too, and I saw him, and all of a sudden, like a tractor just happened to come up out of nowhere, like at light speed, and just flattened him. No, he didn't say that. I'm just making that up. But
Oh, God.
But Ron then threw the victim card. Okay, I'm waiting for a response from that.
Sorry.
Dude,
Ron Dominique threw the
there
victim
was a lot to
card.
take in there. Okay.
Well,
All right.
so he was saying that he had to kill these men in self-defense.
Obviously, 23 times, right?
23 men apparently were going to rape him
Separate times.
and then kill him. Yep.
Of course.
20.
The potato
like-
is just that attractive that men cannot control themselves.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
It's like, well, his asshole is a mashed potato. And we're getting to that.
Well, yeah, you can only rub it, right? So there's the frustration.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, here we go.
Manuel Reed
fuck.
was just going to give him oral for pay, but he let Ron Dominique, quote, put his thing in him.
Oh.
And then he got on top of Ron and shoved it in him, and he panicked, and he grabbed a tool off of his floorboard and he hit him, and then he accidentally strangled him.
Accidentally. Because you can
Somehow.
accidentally do that shit. Yeah.
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 So Manuel
because
raped
that
him.
accidentally happens.
And it was the same story with LeBancs from earlier, but according to Ron Dominique and this first confession, he pulled a knife on Ron Dominique and demanded all of his money, and then, with the knife, he's like, "I'm gonna fuck you." So then he just obliterated.
Yeah, at knife point somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound sketchy at all to me. Yeah, I totally
No,
believe
not at all.
this.
No, not at all. So then he said that he would offer men $200 to $300 for sex, and he explained how that. Remember, he offered LeBancs like $20 or $30. So apparently he multiplies his offers by factors of 10.
Right.
Right.
So
Fuck.
but he explained how how he could find out if they were gay or straight just by showing a picture. And then he would either offer like, okay, I'll fuck you, or you can have sex with this hot chick, or I can give you alcohol or drugs or whatever. Yeah, he had a thing going.
Yeah, he had multiple ways to lure guys in.
Yeah.
Right.
So he then gave several origin stories about his fragile asshole.
God. Oh man. Holy shit.
He was molested. He was molested twice. Oh God, I feel so sorry for the people that are like sleeping right next to this thin wall in this shit ass hotel that I'm in right now. I hope they can hear me. I hope they can hear me. Hi guys. Anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's like, he's like, I was molested twice when I was a kid. I was raped in jail, and that, like when he was in jail for just briefly for the, hey, I'm sexy Ronald McDonald.
Yeah, right.
He's got a big neck attack. So it's just like he was like, that was one story about how he had gotten quote split.
Ugh.
But
Ugh,
he started
really?
killing because of how angry he was about after getting released from jail and everything, about how his asshole was like decimated.
His ass got mashed into a manhole.
Oh fuck. Yeah.
Now another story was a cut in his rectum that he got after messing around with a guy when he was working on an oil rig.
All right.
He seems really fixated on his busted bunghole. Like, why does he have so many different stories? Just be like, look, it's broken and it annoys me. Like, fuck, I'm angry. We don't need to know different origin stories for this.
Right?
Damn.
Oh, but you think you guys are laughing now? Just wait.
All right.
Because he then said, or it could have been all the black pepper I ate while I was on the oil rig.
All right.
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
I don't know. He said that he had to have surgery and it didn't heal properly, and it was sewn up tightly, and it doesn't make sense at all.
Sewn up tightly.
No, it does not.
Fuck, what is he talking about? Jesus Christ.
I know, right? The fuck does that even mean? Jesus.
Basically, his ass was destroyed in jail, damaged due to a black pepper buildup. or caused because by an infection. Yeah, exactly. I mean, damn. I mean, were ghost peppers a thing back then? I think they were. That would have been more convincing.
I don't think that's what he was talking about, though.
I know. But
yeah, you're right.
I think habaneros were the hottest that there was at that point. But
maybe, I don't know.
But or it could have been caused by an infection that had to be surgically corrected.
Okay.
It was one of these things. It was one of those. I'm not sure which one. But it was one of those.
It was one of those. Of course it was one of those.
But the doctors, they told him that it wasn't a good idea for him to be penetrated.
He could only rub it.
Yeah. So he appeared to show remorse, but it was probably all an act because he boasted like he was God when he was next to a cop car when he had a body in the back of his, and also when they had set up a roadblock near like some of the areas and everything. He had just drove right through them with a body in the car.
Oh, man. Yeah, well, because you do that.
Yeah.
I mean, especially if you don't want to get caught, you just, mow right through.
Well, no, you cruise through at the speed limit.
Well, you know what I mean. You don't stop and you don't act suspicious, Don't be suspicious.
Right, exactly.
Don't be suspicious.
Exactly. So he was charged with 11 of the 23 murders. Yeah, and they were all in one parish just to keep it cost effective from being turned into a circus, with defense attorneys and all that stuff. So it's just like they limited it to the one parish, and he pleads not guilty, and then changes it to guilty, and he's sentenced to life with no chance of parole, and he's got 8 life sentences, and he's still there now, and he's at the Angola prison.
Good.
It's the largest.
I don't know much about prisons, but I know Angola's a fucking nasty one.
It's the largest maximum security prison in the United States, and and my question is, was prison worse than death for him? Because that's like the most hardcore prison in the entire country, and him in there with his damaged asshole.
Oh, it's a lot worse now.
With his battered anus, yeah, I'm sure he's not doing great in fucking Angola.
Yeah,
no,
it's
like a butter
lot
churn.
Worse now. But anyway,
I think that he would have been better off getting a death sentence. But because of the fact that I think that he would have been better getting a death sentence, it means it's better for the serial killer.
Oh yeah,
I gotcha.
Okay. Well, we're gonna wrap it up with my story. So it was Bill that met up with Ron Dominique. So how did that happen? Well, I'm going to tell you. I was 3 years old. No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to go Stephen King. I'm not going to go Stephen King. But no. In 2000, or no, it was. Yeah, it was 2000. Todd and I were in a band together, and we were at the waning end of that band because we had several lineup changes. Todd and I were the only original members left in the band, and it wasn't working without the core 4 that started the band.
Mm-hmm.
It just wasn't working. We did one show with like different members, and it didn't work. And then we lost our bass player, and we never played another show together.
Yeah.
But so the woman that I was married to, drop dead gorgeous. I mean, but later in our marriage, she became a stripper.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, I'm like, late 20s. Didn't have a problem with it because it's just like, our band that we had was pretty fucking popular locally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I didn't care. All of a sudden, one day, she comes to me and she says, I'm going to go to New Orleans to work the clubs there. And it wasn't even Mardi Gras. She's just like, just want to make some big money. I'm like, okay. Well, and Todd, you remember this. You and I were sitting at the warehouse and everything, and I was not okay with this.
Yeah.
Remember us sitting there? I was not okay with this. And then finally, I just like, you know what? I'm going there to get her.
Right.
Yeah, because I did love her. I really did. I loved her. So I sold some things, and I borrowed money from, like family members and everything to go to New Orleans to get my wife back.
Yeah.
And because I was just like, no, I want you home with me. It's like, we were going through some problems and everything. I was just like, no, I want you. I want to work out our problems. I want to.
Yeah.
So I fly over there, and I touch down. I check into, like, there's a 16-story Holiday Inn, like right off of, not on Bourbon Street, but on the next street over.
Mm-hmm.
I checked in.
Okay.
I checked into there. So I go in. I check into this, and it's like expensive as fuck and everything. I check it. I check in, and I go out, and it's just like, okay, she's a stripper. Yeah, I had a lot of money with me, but I didn't have much. And I anticipated this, so it's just like, okay, my wife was a stripper, so I'm like, I can do it too. So before I left, I bought a banana hammock, and because I knew that there would be like male strip clubs there, it's like I knew that if I was in a pinch,
Right.
I could do that because I was in a lot better shape back then.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's just like, okay. But the thing is I had broken my wrist like about 2 nights before. I had slipped and fallen, and I as I was going down, I put my wrist down, and I like broke my wrist. I went to the hospital. They ran an X-ray. It was broken in 2 places.
Oh.
On my right hand, and as a guitar player, that really fucking sucks. But
Yeah, right.
but it healed properly. But anyway, but I, so it's just like I went there with a cast on my wrist, and so my first night there, I went to like several different strip clubs, and I couldn't, I had pictures. Oh my God, I just realized I was just like Ron Dominique. I had pictures. But
it was all a blur. Yeah, we know now.
no, I had pictures of me and my ex-wife. I'm like, have you seen her? And it's just like a lot of people, they looked at like, okay, well, it's like, okay, you're an abusive boyfriend. And I can just imagine they're just thinking you're an abusive husband, an abusive boyfriend or whatever, just like trying to track her down or whatever.
And
but
I'm sure,
like,
4 times out of 5, that's exactly what it is. But that one time, it's
and you're right.
You being like, have you seen my wife? Because I don't know where the fuck she is.
You're exactly right. But there was this one woman that I walked into. Yeah, I didn't walk into her, but
she moved out of the way.
She's been stripping for a while. You could just walk right into it.
Let's just walk right into her. But no, she it's just like after I was talking to her, it's just like she looked at me and it's just like, I can tell you're genuine. I've seen her. I'm like, okay. Well, where did you see her? Like, she's over, and I'm not gonna name the name of a club, but she's over at that one. So it's like, okay, thanks. And I tipped her like $20 just for telling me that.
Oh, for sure.
And then, so I went over there, and I ran into the stripper that she had gone there with.
Oh.
And
she didn't get out of the way?
So, no. So
sorry,
and
you know me, I gotta run with that.
And then she tells me, it's just like, okay, well, we're not friends anymore. She's going back home. I'm like, okay.
Oh, fuck.
Cool. All right. So I'll just go back home. Second night when I was in New Orleans, I was running low on money because shit's expensive there.
Yeah.
So it's just like, okay, well, I bought this banana hammock and I'm gonna use it.
Oh,
so yeah. I go into there. There was a club there. I don't know if it's still there. And I'm not dropping names. This is in like September of 2000. Yeah, I go to this club, and it like you walk in, and it's a strip club. Like in the front of the building, it's a strip club for, like where women are taking their clothes off. You go to the back. You have to walk through a curtain to the back room. I mean, it was a big place.
Yeah.
But in the back, there's men taking their clothes off.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so titty bar in the front, dick bar in the back.
Yep. Yep. So I go in there, and I've never told this story before, other than the brief version that we'll get to shortly. But it's just I talked to the manager, and you know how those clubs work. They'll put you to work as soon as you walk into the place.
Oh yeah.
And so they did, and I did, and I can't dance. But I had hair down to my fucking waist.
Oh yeah, I bet they love you.
And I was also like pale because I can't tan. My Scottish blood and everything, that made me look even cooler or whatever, because I was like, I was like pale white and all that stuff and everything. Like the women were like all over me, and it's like I had guys come up. It's like, hey, can I get a dance for you? And no, don't. I don't dance for guys.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not into guys. I no, thank you. Well, all of a sudden this guy comes up to me and is just like, dude, man. And he like fixates on the fact that I have a fucking cast on my wrist because I had broken my wrist like a couple days before.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And he's like, hey, you mad respect for, it's like you're out there doing it. I'm like, well, I'm just doing it. Like I'm swinging on the bar with my fucking left hand, not my right hand. Like I'm not really doing. But he was like really impressed and everything. It was like, oh no. Are you right-handed or left-handed? I'm like, I'm right-handed. It's like, okay, well, look at you. You're up there. You're doing it. But he was completely fixated on the cast on my wrist. So he probably thought that I'd be easier to subdue because I had a broken wrist. I still could have kicked his ass. And all I was really doing was I'm a freaking heavy metal singer and guitar player. I'm just like doing like heavy metal shit. You know? Right? I'm not like dancing and everything. I'm just like freaking just like throwing my hair around.
Yeah.
But so it's just like I really want you to dance for me. I'm like, dude, I don't dance for white guys. So I went off and I started.
Did you just say white guys?
I did. Shit, I did.
So you'll dance for black dudes then, huh? All right. I see how it is.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I have to. Pee Wee Gaskins episode. Listen to it. That was residual from that episode.
Anyway.
But no, it's like I don't dance for guys, and so I went off and I was like I made a shit ton of money off of that night. I've never done anything like this before in my fucking life. But this guy comes up to me again, and he's just like, dude, like your fucking long hair. It's just like it's like my wife would love you. He's like, what time you get off work? I'm like, what? The fuck are you talking about? And it's like, dude, it's like my wife likes to send me out there to get guys to come home and fuck her. I'm like, well, why isn't she with you? I'm like, well, why isn't she with you?
Yeah.
It's like, well, that's just how we do things. I'm like, okay, well, dude, just chill the fuck out. Just and he even went in. It's just like, dude, she would absolutely love you.
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, dude, get the fuck away from me. and it's just like I didn't have to call security on him. I'm like, dude, get the fuck away from me. He was creeping me the fuck out.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so I'm just like, I'm like, get the fuck away from me. And so he does. He gets the fuck away from me, like I asked and everything. And I didn't think about it at all. After that night, I'm just like, I was married to a stripper. I've heard about creepy people all the time.
Yeah.
So I didn't think a damn thing of it until fast forward until about, several months ago.
Yeah.
I mean, I've listened to like podcasts about Ron Dominique, like on Parcast or whatever, but they're so vague and everything. It's just like it's just I didn't do. But when Time Suck, Dan Cummins, when he did his episode on Ron Dominique, and the graphic detail that he goes into, I was just like, it's especially when he started like the whole MO about like talking to people about it's like, oh okay, well, I got this girl here.
Yeah, it rung a bell for you. It was like, wait a minute.
It rung a bell.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that sounds familiar. And I was driving when I was listening to that episode. So I Googled him. It was him.
Damn.
It was him. It was fucking him. And I was so freaked out. And Time Suck, at the end of their episode, they do the Time Sucker updates.
Mm-hmm.
And So I sent in like a really brief version of my story about what about what happened to him, and he actually read it a couple of episodes later on the
Nice.
podcast, and then he went so far as just like, holy shit, Bill. It's like this is crazy. It's just like it's just like I'm sitting here as a podcaster telling the story. It's just like I could have been reading about you as a victim rather than as a time suck update and everything if you hadn't listened to your gut.
Yeah, right.
And it's just like yeah, and it's just like yeah, I'd listened to like a couple episodes about Ron Dominique, and I didn't make the connection until I heard Dan Cummins on Time
with a
Suck.
little more detail, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fucked up, man.
But, yeah.
I know,
and
dude.
it's just like, here I am. But you know, it's just like for those new listeners and everything, I'm a cult survivor. And if you listen to the,
yeah, those are fun episodes.
Yeah. But apparently, in my email that I sent to Dan, I was just like, I'm a cult survivor. Apparently, I'm a serial killer survivor too. And Dan's was like, yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, seriously though.
Yeah, right. Damn, dude, all this shit's happening to you, Bill, and nothing's fucking happening to me. I feel like I've led a sheltered fucking life. But you know, I mean, not saying one way or another. It's just like, dude, you fucking survived a cult and a serial killer. Like,
right.
Damn, dude, dude, I broke my ankle once.
That's me too. I'm like, yeah, I mean, fucking,
you know, I mean,
yeah,
like seriously.
Well, the thing is I grew up in a cult and all that stuff. I mean, it's just so I missed out on a lot of stuff that you got to experience as a kid. So it evens out,
right?
No, not really. Well, all right, maybe. I mean, dude, but yeah. I was like a normal kid growing up, dude. I did normal kid shit, you know. Fucking climbed trees, fell out of trees, fucking that kind of shit, dude, you know. Didn't know cult, and sure as fuck wasn't almost killed by a serial killer.
That you know of.
That I know of.
You could have had somebody stalking to you. I mean, we've already went down that road before.
Yeah, I mean, you never know, dude. It's like, you know, it's that joke, you know, like when you pick up a hitchhiker and like the hitchhiker says, "Aren't you scared that I might be a serial killer?" And then you look at him and go, "The odds of two serial killers being in the same car are fucking astronomical."
Yeah, that's like one of my favorite jokes of all time.
I know. Oh man. All right.
Anyway.
So let's wrap it up. Drink, bitches. So, okay. Oh God, follow us on social media, on Twitter, which we're most active on is CKC_beer. Also our website, you know, it's got links to all of our episodes on all platforms. It's also got like, you know, my original music, cha-ching, and it's also got
shameless self-promotion.
It's going to absolutely. It's also going to have like, you know, we're going to have merch before too long. So
yes, I'm working on t-shirt designs as we speak.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Well, not as we speak. I had to stop doing that because I can't run fucking Studio One
you're working
and
on it
GIMP
right now?
at the same time. Yeah, I can't do Studio One and GIMP at the same time. So yeah,
no, but
all designs are
coming.
being created. Merch will be coming soon.
Follow us and everything, and you know what? I mean, you know, just like and subscribe. And if you're on Apple, leave us a comment. And I know Mark left us our only comment.
What's that, sorry?
Yeah, you broke up on
Huh?
Yeah, you broke up just as you were about to say that. I heard Mark gave us something, and I'm like, oh, God, what did I do?
Oh.
What did I do?
Oh, Mark gave us our only comment that we have on Apple.
Oh.
And it's just like,
yay.
levity.
Well, I mean, that's what, that's what we do. And it kind of makes us stick out from a lot of the other very severe, very, furrowed brow talking about people being fucking decapitated and shit. Like, we're going to do this, we're still going to talk about it, but we're going to make horrible jokes. Yeah. Well, if you made it this far, you've heard.
Your niche is that you're the only one that uses the term levity.
I love the term. That's it, right? Like, I don't know what else to say because it is humor, but I find,
yeah.
it helps it go down a little.
No, we love it. Oh yeah,
bro.
But so, Mark, go ahead and plug your stuff.
Yes, I run a podcast with my wife, Gina, and it's called Mental Illness Theater, The Worst, and we cover everything that is the worst. A lot of serial killers, some disasters, some history stuff. Basically, we kept it broad, so whatever seems terrible and makes a good story, we'll probably do it. And Gina will make dick jokes. So, yeah, it's great. And you can find us, on all the platforms of Mental Illness Theater. For social media, we're more... I'd say probably TikTok or Facebook are the places to find us.
That's
right
cool.
And I don't know if I've said it in this episode yet, but I fucking love that name, bro.
Thanks, man. Like I say, it was one that stuck with me for a while, and it was like, I want to use this for something cool. And then it was like, hey, a podcast about true crime and horrible thing. Perfect.
Hell yeah, dude. I love that name.
Thanks, man.
I do too.
Come on, phone.
Thought I was hallucinating again. Jesus. Woo.
No, it's my fucking phone, dude. I have the volume turned down, but every now and then it goes, no, the volume's not down. Here we go.
All right. Well, this has been a great episode. This has been a great episode. I mean, it was a plagued and tortured episode, but we pulled through it.
We got there and pulled it together in the end pretty well, man.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm still sitting in the dark, but that's
fuck, that's right. I forgot you're sitting there in the pitch black. God damn. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Damn, bro.
Oh man, this is. I don't know. Maybe Santa Claus was saying, "Don't do this episode tonight." But you know what? We pulled through it.
It's done now. So there you go.
Done now.
And
right on.
And you know what? I mean, Mental Illness Theater just put up a Patreon page.
We're coming out with a Patreon in early January. Right now we're working on some smaller episodes to put out on it, so it's actually worth for people to sign up if they would like. Thank you for reminding me of that too.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, well, feel free to put the uncensored version, the unedited version of
the long version. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's just like, I mean, it's just...
Welcome to podcasting. These are the things that happen. You still want to make your own podcast?
Yeah, right?
Yeah, right? Yeah, we both said yeah, right at the same time.
Yeah, we did. Well, we share the same brain, so it is what it is. Anywho.
Yeah. So, anyway, we're gonna wrap this up now, drink bitches. Until next week. I did it again. Drink again.
Until
next week. Later.
Cheers, everybody.
See you later.